Hey, greetings, everybody. Peace, blessings, love, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Hope you're having a beautiful day so far. And a lot of you probably will not even see this till later because hopefully you're spending time with your families. And just spending your energy today with love. Hey, greetings, peace, blessings, love. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. I was late to my own 11:11 appointment. Brother, blessings. Because the ancestors decided that they wanted me to spend some time in heart space right here in my own home, in my own space. Blessings. So I always, the one thing, that I will say, and especially because it's important for us to keep our word, and that is really an important and powerful thing. And that is a, time and things like that is part of the side of our masculine balance. And in the feminine balance is about rolling with the flow and tuning into what needs to be done in any particular moment and doing that. So we definitely need a balance between making sure that we are on time, that we show up, that we honor our word that we give, but also recognizing that sometimes it is important to go with flow. And the one really important thing here, I'm finding us a frequency as we speak. The one really important thing is that always give honor to your home altar before anything else in the world gets your attention. Give honor to your home altar. And at different times of your life, your home altar is going to be different things. For me, as a priestess, the home altar is my actual altars. And in fact, I'm feeling generous to share my family with you guys today. So this is the altar. This is my mother right over here. And these are my ancestors. This is my mother-in-law who recently transitioned. And these are all of their protectors. So we have Buddha nature there who prays for them all day long, every day. And we have Asar who carries their souls to the hall of judgment. And we have Anpu who guards the gates. And we have, the staff of wisdom here. And then we have everything all in alignment, all of the elements that they have asked me for. So that is my ancestor altar. And I have other altars here too at home. So these are my goddesses. These are the goddesses who guide me and who watch over me and help me stay in alignment with my own feminine balance. And super grateful to them. And we have some other altars here in the house too. Oh, actually, I can't forget to show you guys because it's her day today. Today is the Feast of Wajet. So if I'm going to show you the altars, of course, I have to show you. I have to show you Wajet. So here are Wajet and Ptah, and they guard our home. And down here is Ma'at, and these are the assessors. And these were all hand carved in Kemet. And the assessors there are the ones who guard in the Hall of Judgment, and they are the guardians of karma. So if anybody tuned in the other day, I was speaking about karma, and there's a lot that the ancients say and explain about karma and about that understanding. So I actually want today, since today is the Feast of Wajet in my spiritual tradition, in my religion, I will call it religion. It's a religion, such an ugly, dirty word these days. It's such a loaded word, but a religion is something that, spirituality is something that you follow on your own in any way that suits you. And religion is something that the words, the traditions, the understanding, the concepts are something that are unified and something that are shared between a bunch of people. So the concepts, and it's in the same way like the laws of physics, we can call them different things. We can explain physics using poetic language. like the ancestors did. We can use mathematical language like they do in modern times, but it doesn't change the actual laws of physics. So those are specific truths, universal truths. Laws of physics are universal truths. And there is so much from ancient Kemet that is about universal laws and truths. And it's such a shame because as we grew in the power, sometimes it's hard sharing things about Kemet because, people have this, like, as soon as you start to talk about Kemet, people are like, oh God, not that Hotep stuff, and hold on, let me put my phone down there so you guys can see me. Sorry, I did want to show you that part of me. The laws of the understandings, the truths that they had were so powerful and so freeing for us as a people. And I mean all people. I'm not even talking about any specific people, but of course, most deeply to melanated people. But that awakening was so damaging to the system that is in place in the world today, this parasitic system that is in place, that they began a campaign to completely destroy and renounce and to dirty the name of Kemet so that people wouldn't take it seriously, and after enough time of pushing in these type of, these debate things that people were getting into for a while and pushing lots of false information, and after just enough damage, after they dropped enough bombs in just the right places, they were able to infiltrate the whole system of our Kemetic revival, our Kemetic awakening, and to destroy it in a way that made it almost that people literally won't take you seriously if you talk about Kemet. And it is really sad because there is such a wealth of knowledge and such a wealth of truth. And if you actually decode the things, and when I say decode the things, I'm not talking about decoding them using the mind. We don't use the mind to truly understand. To understand something that's multidimensional, you have to use your entire being. You have to use all of you. So this is one reason that I love connecting with the ancients through doing yoga. And I'm so grateful that the goddess Wajet, the serpent goddess Wajet, that she came to me and found me and does her work through me. I opened myself to her truth. And even though it has been brutal, I promise you, I can't remember even how long ago. I guess what is it now, since I got initiated, 14 years or something, or one of the initiations, I should say. And she came and found me then, and my life was a process of purification. But Wajet is a fire goddess, and as a fire goddess, her awakening is about burning out everything in you that isn't real, that isn't the real you. Everything that isn't, just like a forest fire will just burn down the whole forest. There'll just be carbon and tree stumps and burned soil, everything. It just raises everything to the ground so that all the things that are there become rich nutrients for the soil, and then goes down into the earth, and then it becomes renewed again and transformed back into a whole new forest. And that's actually, hold on, let me turn this down a little bit just so you guys can hear me. And I hope the circles back there are not hypnotizing you. If so, that is not my intention. I apologize. But it is really, really because it has had such a profound and massive transformation for my life. I am really, really passionate about sharing the tools of ancient Kemet. And so this system of yoga, so just to introduce this yoga, because I'm so grateful to you guys for being here, and I would love to do this heart meditation with you all. And just before I do that, I just want to share and explain. So today is the Feast of Wajet. Today in ancient Kemet, so in the calendar of Kemet, this day, 4 days after the solstice, 4 to 5 days after the solstice, is when the earth starts to shift again and come, oh, here comes my dog. He's gonna go sit in his chair and listen. So it's the time when, so the solstice is when the longest night of the year happens and the shortest day of the year. And then 4 days after, 4 to 4.5, 5 days after that, that's when everything shifts and begins to renew, and the days start to become longer, and we move towards what is towards spring, and spring is the fullness of the awakening. Spring is not the beginning. Spring is the fullness of that awakening, of that green renewal. So the process of the green renewal begins with the goddess Wajet. So the earth goes through, in the same way that the human body, we have channels in our body. So when we go through a serpent power awakening, right back here in the tailbone, so there are 4 tiny bones that are fused close together, and that in our tailbone, that is where the serpent power energy sits. And in ancient Kemet, that was called the alabaster sarcophagus. That's the the place where they go and lie down inside when they pass away. So if you ever see the white coffin, it's made of a stone called alabaster, and that was the name for those tailbones, because that was the place where the serpent energy lies dormant, and until we make the choice to wake that energy up, then that energy stays coiled there. And little bits, just because to be alive, some of the energy has to be flowing through you. So, but when we awaken to our own divinity, when we awaken into a way of expanding our power, that's when that space there awakens. And so the energy, instead of just putting out slight, magnetism that might take up maybe that inner circle there like that, the awakening actually opens and expands just like that, and it starts to expand all through our body. So it opens up and it starts to travel up the spine in a spiral, and it moves through parts of the spine, and there are different channels all the way. There are 14 gates all the way up and down through our from the tailbone, and then up and down and back around again. And there's a cycle that this energy moves through it, and as it moves through each gate, there's a certain energy that it brings to our lives. And this energy is Wajet. So Wajet is the purification. She is that serpent energy, that conscious entity that has dominion over the awakening. And so the same way that our body has that cycle, so that raises up here, and that energy raises up to the crown, and then it comes down the crown and down the front of the body. So in the same way that our bodies do that, and by the way, our bodies oscillate, the molecules oscillate at the same speed that the earth spins. So we have so much more in common with the earth than we even realize on a regular basis. There are a lot of the cycles and the rhythms inside of our bodies that naturally correlate very exactly with cycles that are happening on the earth. So in the same way, so as the ancients explained it, the same way that we have this awakening, this energy that moves up and down our body, the energy moves up and around the earth in the same way. And the earth has an electromagnetic field around it, just like we do. And at the solstice, that energy that is locked inside the base of earth breaks open and it rises up. And once it hits that rising up place, when it has risen, that's December 25th. That is the Feast of Wajet, because that's the celebration of she being this electric goddess who pushes things, who opens things, who expands things. It is the force of Wajet who opens and expands the energy to bring us back to the light, toward the light. So without that force, without that push, then the earth energy literally wouldn't do it. And that's literal. So it's a goddess who has dominion over that, but then by goddess, that means this conscious entity. The universe is alive and conscious, and there are things whose consciousness direct the flow and movement of all these. So, when we speak about physics, the Western science has removed divinity from physics, and so they just, their edge of their science ends where they cannot explain why everything moves in rhythm and flow with each other, why there's a dynamic relationship between different things in the universe, and the different relationship that they don't want to call it is the divine energy. It's a divine, conscious, awake, aware energy. And so if they were to admit that energy is there, then the governments wouldn't be able to insert themselves into that space between us and the divine, and without doing that, then they won't have control over humans anymore. So science and physics is permitted to go right up to the point where they admit that there is God. And by God, I'm not talking about Sky Daddy, who is telling people to be good or bad. I'm talking about a divine conscious entity, and no offense intended toward anybody, towards anyone's beliefs, but that isn't, when I say God, I'm just saying that my definition of God that I'm saying is just speaking about a conscious, the awake awareness. So before anybody, so I just like to clarify what I mean when I say. Everybody else can clarify with their own definitions, but that is what I mean when I speak about it. And so, sorry, I'm jumping around a lot because I have a lot to say, and I don't want to keep everybody, because I know that this beautiful, blessed day, this Feast of Wajet, that I will be celebrating by spending some time with my ancestors today and sitting in communion with Wajet, and just in deep gratitude for where she has taken me, for what she has done for me on my journey of transformation. But I love to share these things, so please don't. I just ask you all, if you come across information that is Kemetic, if you hear Kemetic and your natural, your automatic thing is to kind of dismiss it, that Hotep energy, just draw that back and remember that dismissing this ancient science as Hotep stuff that's when these people who infiltrated our movement, that is just allowing them to win. We cannot allow them to win, because that was the awakening process for our revival, and especially spearheaded by Wajet. Wajet is the goddess of renewal, revival, recycling, like anything to do with anything that is green. She is the goddess of bringing it all back again. And so through goddess Wajet, so many things that are closed off and resting under the earth in the darkness, just like the dark days of winter, her energy is what will break that open and begin the process of forcing out that hidden thing and bringing it back out into the light. So that is the foundation of Wajet Yoga. So the origin of Wajet Yoga is with her. And in my personal journey with Wajet, I'll try to nutshell this because I do want to get to the heart meditation now. But my personal journey with her, I was initiated as a Wabet, and that's a Wab priestess, is a purification priestess. It is a person who's responsible for purifying the temple, for cleaning the space, and for getting everything ready for the high priest, so that when the high priest enters that space, that there's no filth, there's nothing to harm, because the high priest holds the energy. The high priest is the one who comes through with all the downloads, all of the information, all of the direct connection through just constantly living themselves into this state of power. If they come in contact with any kind of dirt, filth, mess, whether it's human, whether it's something dirty from nature, whether it's something from people's thoughts, whether it's entities, whatever it is, the high priest's ability to do their function, to carry out their function perfectly, rests on the protection provided in their space by the Wab priests who purify the space. So I've been initiated since the first time I was initiated. I was 11. I was initiated actually as a high priestess at that time, because I'm able to see spirits and channel and things like that. And so the group that I was with recognized my abilities early on, thankfully, and initiated me into that space so that my life could be a process of growth. And when that took place, that opened me for this long journey, and then later on I was initiated to Auset, and then after the initiation to Auset, and that was another every certain amount of years I go through these cycles, through these Saturn cycles, where I go through another initiation. And so there was the Auset initiation, and then another Saturn cycle was the Wabet initiation. And after going through these different processes, after the next Saturn cycle came through, Wajet came to me, and I didn't even realize she had been with me that entire time, but she had been slowly, like a serpent, coiling her way up my spine and awakening me to different aspects of my own power, of understanding the world in different ways, taking me to places and having me introduced to people and entities who helped my process, helped my journey. And eventually, one day I was in my backyard, and I was mowing the lawn, and I was wearing flip-flops. I'm out here in Florida, should have thought about that, but I was mowing the lawn, and there was a little rock by this tree, or what I thought was a rock, but it actually was a coiled black snake, and it bit me on the inside of my ankle, and it bit me on the top of my foot. and I ran inside the house because I'm, horrified, like the idea, I just thought all snakes are poisonous and I was going to die immediately. And I ran inside and it felt like I had stepped into like a bag of needles. Like if you just took a bag and just filled it with needles and just jammed your foot inside, that was what it felt like, being bitten. And it took a little bit of time of panicking and thinking that I was going to die. And when I didn't die immediately and when everything didn't, go crazy, and I started to calm down and started to, address the pain and everything and fix it up, I went to my altar because at that time I had my altars already set up, and I went to the altar and was like, what is going on? Like a series of unfortunate events had started to spiral in my life. And I could not figure out, because it was like things kept being taken away and taken away and taken away and taken away. And then it was like, my car wasn't working, and I had to change my job, all these things. And I was being squeezed into this very tight position. And at the time it felt like everything was being taken away. And I spent every day being like really a faithful servant of the divinities who I'm connected to. And that's really genuine. Like I genuinely can honestly say that literally every day, there isn't any day that goes by that I don't give gratitude to the sun, or connect with my space, or just go within like some kind of way, even whether it's something big like a feast day like today, or whether it's something small. I always connect, and I'm always humble with them, and I'm always coming back to learn more and try to correct and do better and expand. So I really couldn't understand why, as a person who was doing all the things that they were asking of me, why did things kept getting taken away and breaking down and everything. But as we know, on the deeper end of the spiritual journey now, of course, those of us who've been on the path for a time, you realize that as you get closer to where it is you belong, the entities, the guardians who take care of you, the deities who watch over you, will start to shave things out of the way, pull things off. And if we try to force our will and go into what it is that we think we should be doing, instead of like deeply listening and allowing a space of surrender and allowing the voice to become aware of what we're supposed to be doing, they will just start pulling it away, like whether you know it or not. So you can know it and you can get on the ride on purpose, or you can not know it and then you're going to crash into the walls, because they will pull you to where it is you're supposed to be. And so the snake bite was like this final chapter, and I was like, what is going on? Like now, I had my car stopped working, and I had this, and we're in this house, and we had things going on, and I was like, why did all of this? The house that I wanted to move to hadn't been available, so we ended up moving in this other house. And then my car broke, and I was supposed to be writing the first book, the book on, where is my book? I don't even remember if I have a copy around here. My Wajet Yoga, the first volume, explaining all of this story of her existence and her awakening and in me. And I was in the process of writing the book, and it was just taking ages. It had taken me years of picking it up, putting it down. And so I went to my altar. And at that point, I was really in tears, and I went to the altar, and it wasn't like some pretty high priestess, I got this, I get the mission type of thing. It was like, why me? I was like, it was so many things happening back to back that I was really like, what is going on? So I was in full self-pity mode at that point. And I go to the altar, and so Wajet tells me that, so I ask her, and I'm like, what is going on? So like after all this, and then I got bit by the snake, like I thought you're my snake goddess, I'm here, I'm doing the serpent power, I got the yoga, I've been teaching the yoga, like you're like, aren't snakes supposed to like come and be friendly with me? Like why would you have a snake come bite me? What's going on? So Wajet tells me, she shows me, I sit down with her, and she shows me this image. And meanwhile, okay, so I'm in pity mode, I'm just begging about why me, poor me. And she shows me that in the land in the backyard where I had been mowing the lawn, that she said that this black snake was a like a product of the energy of this land where it lives on. It's picking up the vibration, obviously being the belly is on the earth. It's a product of this vibration of earth where this is. And then she shows me this scene that happened there, where there were just like women and children. And so there were like indigenous people, indigenous black and brown people just running around. This is here in Florida. This was in Osceola County. If anybody ever looks at Osceola County. So I didn't know anything of it. Had been living in Osceola County for, whatever years at that point, and never looked up or learned any history of Osceola County. And so she showed me that there were indigenous women and children, and they were running. They were in like a camp, and they were running and screaming. And then there were men on horses with guns, with rifles and things, and they were running through and shooting them. And I was like, what is that? I'm trying to find out why I got bit by a snake, and you're showing me, this is a horrible scene, but why are you showing me indigenous men and women, or not even men, just like women and the children, boys and girls, running and screaming, and then men with rifles? What does that have to do with what's the answer? I'm not getting the connection between what I'm asking you and what you're showing me. I don't get it. So because I was snake bitten and my legs were in pain, it hurt to walk at that point. And so both of my legs were bandaged and everything, and I had, salve and everything like that. It's funny, actually, the salve that I used to heal the snake bite wounds, I actually sell that on my website now. It's a charcoal salve. But anyway, so that it's funny how I learned to, you learn recipes as you need them. You learn to pull all the resources in life. That's been my process with Wajet. But so because I wasn't able to really walk around without pain, I just shacked up in bed for probably maybe 3 days. I just kind of had to take time off and just go within, and I was in a kind of a depressed place and just feeling like everything was going wrong. So while I'm in bed, I start reading, and I'm like, well, something guides me to look up Osceola County, because I was like, well, that's strange. This is Seminole territory, so the Seminoles were made up of black and brown. Of course, the story has been retold, and they make it sound different, but the Seminoles were Gullah people. They were people who were already indigenous to this space. They were Arawaks, they were Tainos, all mixed together, all people descendants of those bigger tribes. And so I looked up, just out of curiosity, I looked up the history of Osceola County, and lo and behold, come to find out that, in fact, I think it was Jefferson? Now I forgot. No, or was it Jackson? I think Jackson at the time had a war. Oh, it was Jackson, because there's Jacksonville in Florida. Florida tried to secede against the nation. So the war that the Gullah, Seminole, indigenous, black and brown people of this nation, of this earth here, they fought a war against the U.S. that was beating the U.S. so badly that the U.S. had to, that year, put it had the budget for the entire nation, for everything, for the whole country's budget was $1.2 million, and they ended up burning through $1 million just to try to continue fighting this war against Florida, because the people here were so powerful. Oh, thank you. And the people here, and so their final strategy of Jackson and the troops that he sent in was that go to find all the camps where the women and children are, because the men are coming out, of course, and the men are the warriors that are coming out and they're making war. Go to the camps where the women and children are and just slaughter them all. Just start slaughtering them, because once all the women are dead and all the children are dead, the men are going to give up, because they're going to have nothing to fight for. And this isn't, if you go back and actually look up in the history, this is actual history. I'm a history buff. So it's even more so it was interesting for me, but it was crazy, because when I got bit by the snake, I had literally no concept, no idea of any of this history. And she showed me this in this vision. And sure enough, the place where I got this house, so I was trying to move to a completely different house in a different area. Some issues were happening with my finances, and I couldn't get the house that I wanted. And then the first house that was available when I needed it was the house that I was living in when the snake bite happened. It turns out that piece of land was one of the campments where that whole land, not just where my house, but that entire area was one of the campments where women and children were where they were living, where they were in their teepees, where they had their washing, and where they had their growing their food. And that was one of the places that Jackson's troops came in and just slaughtered them. And so when Wajet shared that with me, she said that there are so many spirits, so many beings who are locked into the earth, who were slaughtered so brutally and so violently, and their souls are not free. Like, their souls are still connected because of like the violence. Their souls are karmically connected to this earth, and they're wanting to be set free. So that we need to come in and we need to like recognize them. We need to recognize them and connect with them and perform rituals with the land so that we can connect with them and set them free. And Wajet told me that that was one of my purposes for being there, that with the energy of Wajet, that by in the same way that she comes through every December 25th and forces the energy up out of the earth, that her energy, that if I would make rituals to the land there, that her energy would come through me and I could connect to them and help those people who were violently slaughtered there to be set free in that space. And by me helping them, that was going to awaken something inside me that understood the story of our ancestors in a deeper way, like understood the story of our real movement, of our real history, not the history from the books, not that from the textbooks in school, not the erased and covered up stuff, but the real history of what our people have gone through just in these different spaces of earth, and what we who live here now can do to help to shift the earth, to shift things happening. And so it was a massive, massive awakening for me going through that experience. And it was so crazy because, it doesn't happen to everybody where ancestors will come to you and actually, draw blood like that. That's like a blood ritual. If you get stung by a bee in a spiritual thing, with a thing happening, or get bit by a snake, or certain things, even sometimes bit by a dog. If you're connected in a certain way, there's it's a ritual. It's a ritual of you being chosen. And that's the thing, is that a lot of times when we're being chosen, it looks horrible to us. When we look just through the eyes of our egos, just through the first eyes, it can look so bad. And it's most of the time, it really isn't that. We have to learn how to see with our heart. We have to learn how to see, because everybody's out trying to clean the pineal and cleanse the pineal, and that's important too. But the pineal and cleansing the first eye here is more for the purpose of looking outward. It's our vision about the world. It's about tuning in with our destiny, about understanding things about from here. But the seat of this piece of vision here, the seat of the ability for us to see, is here. Just like these eyes take in messages, and they take in the messages, and we have the nerves that go back to the brain, the optic nerves, they go back to the brain, and then the brain translates. There's light bouncing off particular objects in the room, and the brain translates the light bouncing off of particular objects and translates that to us so that we have a concept of what something is. And in the same way, the first eye takes the vision, takes the experiences of the things that light is bouncing off of in the interdimensional ways, and takes that message and sends that down the optic nerve to the heart, so that the heart can translate those messages into our experiences. And so the same thing that the physical vision does using the brain, the deeper awareness, the psychic vision or the interdimensional vision, does the exact same thing, but that vision comes from here and is translated by the heart. So the heart has to be cleansed, the heart has to be purified and able to receive the messages. So it doesn't, no matter how much pineal detox you take or do, no matter how many crystals you rest over your third eye, if your heart is not purified, your heart cannot properly translate the messages that your vision is coming to you. So there will be a space where there's this state of confusion. That, so if you've ever had in your life where you feel like, I'm supposed to do something, like something said, take the other card today. I don't know. And then you don't listen, and then later while you're in the situation, you're like, this was why I was supposed to take the other one. And we do that constantly, like we'll second guess ourselves until it becomes such a process, where you're like, all right, I don't even know why they said bring this roll of toilet paper with me today. I don't know why I'm bringing a roll of toilet paper out, but to the point when you've had enough times where something has happened to you where you're just like, I don't know, I'm just gonna look like the crazy one, I guess, because I'm gonna be walking around with this roll of toilet paper. They will, but I believe in them, and they will explain to me after, and then always it turns out to be something for some bizarre reason that you couldn't have predicted. They whatever it is that you needed it for will show itself. So, hey, blessings. So it's really important to focus on this cleansing. It is so important to clear the heart so that we're not living in this state of confusion. That is a piece of the process of the awakening, as that energy goes up the spine, as it spirals up the spine and out the top of the head and back down the front of the body to where it gets sealed. That process is like one of the pieces of the process. When the serpent energy is in this part of your spine back here, right under the heart, so between where the kidneys are and just underneath the heart, that's called the gate of confusion back there. And the gate of confusion is where the heart hasn't been fully activated yet by this chi, by this serpent power. And so the heart is still, you could say, blind in a sense. And while it's in that state, you'll receive messages, but you can't translate the messages. So this is why this is called the gate of confusion. That's what in the ancients, there's a book called the Book of Gates. You want to look up anything to do with Kemet, look at the actual text that they originally, that they wrote, instead of looking at modern people's translation of the text, in order to really fully understand and download for yourself what they really meant. But the Book of Gates is not just an explanation of like, this is what happens after you die. This is how energy moves in all states, in all ways. So that the energy awakens and moves up your spine, before it hits your heart space, you're awakened and you're aware and you're receiving downloads and messages and things, but you're not properly translating them. Once it pushes through, once that chi energy, once that serpent power pushes through the back of the heart space and starts to open that heart space up, the messages start to come through more clearly, and the heart energy has its own force field. Your heart actually, and this is science, your heart actually has an electromagnetic force field that spins this way. So we have energy that cycles this way, and then we have the chakras that spin this way, and then we have a heart electromagnetic field that spins this way, like a record spins around, which is that actually makes sense now, just like I'm saying it. But so that spin, so that once that chi moves up and gets caught in the spin of the electromagnetic heart field, it changes the quality of the vibrational matter changes. It changes its structure, and so it starts to blend. Oh, excuse me, guys. You okay? You okay? Oh, just checking, Jerry. He's just watching the yoga as usual. He made a brief appearance on camera again. Just talking to my daughter, guys. But yeah, that chi, that kundalini energy changes once it hits the heart space, and as those two energies start to bond and start to connect with each other, our awareness deepens. And a lot of times, see, this process isn't explained, or people think of this because this is often shown like in books. And this is the difference between having a book and having a mentor. A book can take you so far. A book can awaken you to things, but you have to go with somebody who has experienced what it is that you are trying to experience, whether it's something financial, whether you got a fitness coach or whatever it is. Going through these things with a mentor, with somebody who knows, oh, when you feel this is, they know how to translate what's happening to you for you, so that you can move through your process with awareness. So because we see this in books a lot, so the books show us this straight line from the root to the crown, bam, straight line. It goes up like this, and then usually the pictures are shown front forward, so you see what appears to you to be a straight line going straight up and down, and we believe that it starts at the root and it ends at the crown, and that is completely false. That is not actually the case. So the life force begins in the heart, and it goes from the heart, and then it goes and it spirals up and around. So it goes up, and then it goes down and around, and it goes up this way. And then this secondary force. So the first force, the force that is your actual life force, your chi, goes in a spiral around like that. So if you look at it from the front, it's going to look like a line. Like if you look at a circle from the side, a circle can look just like a straight line to you, and until you turn the circle this way, you don't even know that it's round or that it has a surface area or anything like that. It can look just like a straight line. And so this spiral of energy moves this way, it goes down and around. And then the second awakening, the awakening that comes from the chi being in, when we become aware of our own divinity and actually start to operate as that, then that tailbone energy goes up here, but the tailbone energy goes up, and it doesn't finish at the crown. It actually goes up to the crown. It is activated at the crown, and then it comes down, and it's not complete until it hits this point here. So it goes through all these gates, hits this point here, and that's when it's locked. That's when the full awakening has taken place. And after the awakening has taken place, that energy goes down, and it goes and it becomes stored at the belly, and then it goes back and returns to the root, so that it continues to make a cycle of energy. So we have all these different cycles of energy moving around and through us at all times that just operate on their own and that we're not usually aware of. We just take it for granted that everything is always functioning. And so understanding how these things, oh, blessings, brother, please, welcome. Understanding how these energies actually move through our bodies, through our beings, helps us to better understand the cycles of nature, to understand the cycles of time. And when we understand things better, we can tune into them and lock into them better. And this is about the development of our personal power. So the Wajet energy, understanding life force, understanding the connection, the dynamic of how life force moves through your body, helps you understand how life force moves through nature, and helps you understand how life force moves through the cosmos. So the as above, so below adage, that paradigm is actually true. So if you spend nothing but understanding spend your energy and focus and intention on understanding just your body and the cycles of how energy moves through your body, you will actually awaken to a process that repeats itself all through the universe. So this right here is a tool of transformation. This vessel, like, we think about our karmic, like when we arrive here on earth and we think about, oh yeah, okay, I arrived in a physical body so that I can, hug people and have sex and smile and use my hands and work and pick things up, and so that I can, navigate my way through this physical plane. But we rarely stop to think about what was the purpose of the process of having us incarnate into a body, because the stuff that we're learning, we can do this on the spirit level. We didn't need physical bodies to teach us, when we're like, we come down here, we incarnate so that we can learn lessons, we can interact with other spirits, we can connect on certain things, we can connect. But we arrived in a vessel. The vessel is part of the process. Don't overlook the vessel, trying to learn all the wisdom out there. When I see people going through with these debates and talking about all this stuff from out of books and beating each other down over ego, or when I hear somebody speaking this high wisdom, I'm like, yeah, the ancients said this and they did that and that, and they're talking about all this stuff from inside of a vessel that is like damaged and unkept. And you can see clearly that their vessel is not well kept. How can you speak about high wisdom? How did you step over your own container and go out and start learning about high knowledge and wisdom? The first thing you owe yourself to learn and understand this vessel before you do anything else. The first place where divinity resides is right here. And the one thing that you have complete control over is this one thing right here. So start with this, start small, start simple. Treat this vessel with love, treat this vessel with care, and then go back to the origins of this vessel. Understand the cycles of energy and movement through this vessel. And that's why we're going to go into the heart space. That's why we start with the heart space, because this vessel began with a heartbeat. This vessel began with a heartbeat on purpose. The heartbeat is the electromagnetic record player and records everything you ever experience from the time you got here. So from the time you got here, there are people, I can remember watching Oprah, like, gosh, 20 years ago or something. And it was so crazy how significant it was to me at the time. There was a woman on there, and I think the episode was a hypnosis, or it was people talking about their hypnosis experiences. And this woman was hypnotized, and she remembered that her mother tried to abort her when she was like obviously in the womb, and that she had had this terrible relationship with her mother all her life, and the abortion failed. And I think it was like in the 60s when it happened, and abortion was illegal, and so it was like somebody who was trying to help the woman out or something, because she didn't think that she could be a mother. She was fighting her own destiny that had happened to her by doing that. We're not going to get into a discussion about abortion or anything like that. We're just talking about the human experience. So there is I don't put stamps of right and wrong or judgment or anything like that. In the human experience, this woman was trying to alter her destiny by removing the baby, and she was not successful. And so this child grew in her and came out, and then constantly had a bad relationship with her, and then came all that time later to come and discover that her mother had tried to abort her. And so when you think to be hypnotized and to actually go back and remember that, this conscious entity, and this is before there was even full brain development. So something inside there is consciously aware of your existence before you're even fully formed as a vessel. There is something consciously there. And the very first thing that's there, it's not a something, we know what it is, but the something is the heart. As soon as the heart starts beating, that is when they even count as life. As soon as the heart is formed and beating, you're alive, because you are now awake and aware of your own existence at that point. And so until your heart beats your last beat, you're continually recording. So every single thing you have ever done, people are talking about Akashic records out there and accessing these records, and people are always looking to these high and lofty, this wisdom from this big thing, and always want to make stuff really big, when actually things are really simple. You don't even need to access Akashic records. You can, not saying anything's wrong with that, but right here, you have a record of everything you have ever done, and you have a record of understanding this vessel here, this tool, your heart, and it's like a little chamber, just like this here, just like this. There's a reason why these were shaped like this. These were shaped in the way to mimic, those are ancient Kemet pots. Ooh, lots of pot. Doggy hair in that corner. Sorry, I hope you can't see it. They were shaped that way to mimic the vessel that's inside of here. This vessel contains all of the knowledge of who you are, and it is aligned with your destiny. So when they say follow your heart, this is aligned. So the heart is the seat of the conscience. So this is another ancient Kemetic. They understood the heart, the function of the heart, the function of the spiritual heart, not just the physical, interplay. And the heart is the seat of the conscience. So when you do something and you just weren't supposed to do that thing, this vessel will speak up, and it will let you know, and it will send messages down to your gut that say like, oh, I feel something feels off. I was not supposed to do that. And it will send messages to this eye. And so it is set at a frequency, in a specific aligned frequency, aligned to your destiny. So what is right inside of here is set in alignment to your destiny. So many times we're trying to force other people, oh no, you should believe this, you should follow this. If you don't know, and you can't know what somebody else's heart, what it is aligned to, because some people don't even know their own destiny. You can't know what somebody else's destiny is. You would have to be in full attunement to somebody else's heart space in order to understand their actual destiny. And so going into here, into this space, will tell you this tool here, that is wrapped, sealed inside of this tool, is here to tell you, are you going the right way? Are you going the way that is not in alignment? Are you moving in alignment with your destiny, with your purpose for being on earth? Or are you moving not in alignment? It's only two ways. You're either moving towards your destiny or you're moving away from your destiny. And if you're holding still, you're moving away from your destiny, because nothing in the universe is still. So if you're just frozen in analysis paralysis, you're moving away from your destiny, because everything is constantly moving and changing around you. So while you stay frozen in fear or limitations or lack or beliefs that no longer serve you, you're moving away from your destiny. So you're literally only moving toward your destiny or away from your destiny. And the way to know that is to cleanse this space and then to tune into this space, so this space can provide you the awareness of what it is that you are supposed to be doing. So having said all that, I just want to give thanks to the ancestors, give thanks to my mother, who transitioned when I was 8 years old and who awakened this process for me, awakened the process of connection to ancestors by coming back to me. The day that we buried her, my mother came back to me and spoke to me. And way before anybody ever told me that there's no such thing or it's not possible or that couldn't be, I saw her, I sat with her, I spoke to her. And so I've known from then that once this vessel is shed, that's not the end, that there's something conscious still going on. And I've sought my whole life, I've spent seeking out the truth of understanding why it is and how it is and how does it move that way and everything. And I've gotten quite a lot of answers at this point, you know. That was quite some time ago. So I was 8 years old, and I don't know if I mentioned my age now, which I don't need to, but I've been doing this for a lot of years. And it never gets old. Like, there's constantly something new unfolding. There's constantly something new to know. And I'm so super grateful. I'm so grateful to them for their guidance, for watching over me. And I am so grateful to our ancestors from ancient Kemet who lived their existence at such a deep level that they were the mothers and fathers, not only providing for their children or for their grandchildren, they literally left things behind to provide for descendants from 4,000 years later, 12,000 years later. Like, think about how deep that really is. Like, for everybody who's living paycheck to paycheck and you're not thinking about what you're going to do in 2 weeks from now, think about your ancestors whose heart space was so deep and powerful and pure that it mattered to them how you are doing in this time now. They were aware that the Earth's cycles were going to bring huge challenges for humanity with it. And they left these clues so that people could tune in and remember who they are. And I'm so grateful to them for that. For someone like me who wasn't able to move with faith. I'm not a faith person, or I was not a faith person. I am now, but that was by force. You know, that was after trying out the faith muscle over and over. I didn't start out as a faith person. I am like a 5 placement Sagittarius. I am extremely logical. I want to know, I need to see it, I need to understand it. And so it resonated with me in a huge way to have actual tangible proof of the way people lived, about what they thought, about what they discovered, and to be able to tap into that and not just to say, well, you know, this one book said that, so I'm going to believe it or anything. And for whoever that is possible for, that's wonderful, as long as you're connected to your own divinity in some way and seek to continue awakening and getting a deeper and deeper connection to your own divinity. That's all that's required. That's all that's required of us. And no matter what spiritual system you are connected to, all that's required of us is to connect to the divine and to deepen our connection with it through our life process. That's all that's required. And so what they did and like what they left, and knowing that they left the resources and tools for us. Okay, cool. All right, sorry about that. My Wi-Fi is always jumping off. But okay, so having said all of that, let's go ahead and jump into this meditation. So the heart is the center. The heart is the foundation. So if anybody is trying to tell you that you need to start here, or you need to start here, or if your understanding of the chakras, of the alignments, of the alignments inside the body, the non-physical alignments, led you to believe that this is linear, that you're supposed to start down here and end up here. I'm just letting you know to begin everything with the heart. Everything begins and ends with the heart. Life on earth begins and ends with the heartbeat. So let's go ahead and tune into that space with like that awareness, with awareness and gratitude, and cleanse it from a place of love and connection and just deep gratitude for what this really is. Like the magnitude of what this thing actually is, what this is actually providing for us is so magnificent. You know, this is literally an everyday miracle. Like your heart beating is literally a miracle. So let's go ahead and tune into it, give it some love. So this time we're going to start with the left hand on top of the heart and the right hand on top, and just take a deep breath in. And just fill the 4 chambers of your heart with that breath, with that intention, with that deep, deep sense of gratitude. If you had no idea how powerful and magnificent and amazing your heart actually is up until this moment, if you had no idea, pour all of that love and connection and awakening and awareness, pour that in there. Deep breath and exhale. This time exhale and just drop the energy down from your heart through the bottom, down out the root. And then inhale back up, fill the heart, and this time expand the breath to fill outside and around of the heart also. So fill the 4 chambers of the heart and then fill the space around the heart. And exhale, and again, drop that energy down through the root, out. Inhale again, and this time bring the breath up. Fill the heart space, and then just go ahead and raise the breath up, up, up. Keep inhaling until you get through the crown. And hold the breath above the crown. And just feel it open. Just feel your crown open and become receptive. Feel like an open channel, like a tube going down from the crown all the way down. And in the center of the tube, your heart is just sitting in that space in the middle of the tube. Inhale up, up through the crown, and up, up, as high as you can go with the breath. And then exhale. And just drop it down through the tube, down all the way out the root. And open that tube at the bottom as well, like a giant straw. And inhale a few times, a few deep, slow breaths up and down through this tube, through this open vessel that you are. Drop that last breath down, and this time we're going to inhale up and pull the breath back to the heart, and then we're going to bring the right hand over. And again, for anybody tuning in for the first time today, the video is probably reversed, so just bring just for the sound of my voice, bring your right hand and press it into your side here, palm facing forward. Left hand comes up, and the left hand is going to be about 4 to 6 inches in front of the heart, and then we're going to move it out another 4 to 6 inches, and then another 4 to 6 inches. So here. So we go here, here, and here. And then we inhale, deep breath back. And we chant as we go. Tum, ta, ru. And tum, ta, ru is a Kemetic chant. Tum, ta, ru. And I was sharing this with someone yesterday, that Kemetic language, which is another reason that it's really important and so powerful for us to be able to tune back into the Kemetic language and not using the Kemetic Egyptology language where the vowels have been removed. The vowels were removed on purpose. So pause there. Just hold your hand, keep your hand there, and just hold that and set the intention for your heart space to be cleansed as I'm just sharing this last thing, the vowels were removed on purpose because the Kemetic language is a power grid. It creates actual structures in the energetic field by the speaking of Kemetic words. The English language does not have that. There are very few languages on earth that have the sacred capacity to actually change geometric structure interdimensionally, and Kemetic language is one of the very few languages known on earth that actually does that. So learning to speak, and not speak with like the Egyptology things where we draw a line over it, or we put a little word without the vowels in it, the actual word, learning to speak and enunciate these words and say them creates a power grid, the same way that if anybody has seen the movie Doctor Strange, I was just sharing about this yesterday. In Doctor Strange, he goes through, and when they're doing certain things, he'll set his intention, and then they'll make like a circle, and you'll see geometric symbols and codes on the circle, and then all of a sudden, like, it opens up a portal, and they can step through the portal. The Kemetic language is actually doing that, and it's doing it at obviously a frequency that our eyes and our the senses that go with this vessel are not able to pick up. But when we speak the Kemetic language, the heart frequency is perfectly aware of that geometric language. It's perfectly aware of that. It speaks that language. So when we speak Kemetic, the heart is automatically understanding what we're doing. So we do these movements. So this movement here, but when this movement is accompanied by this Kemetic language, by this chant in this language, it is unlocking a portal, and it is opening space so that all of the psychic debris, all of the toxic thoughts, all of the waste, all of the old experiences that are harvested and that are sitting in there, those experiences can be removed, and they can be detoxified, they can be removed from us, so that our heart is pure. And with a pure heart, we're able to live a happy, functional, abundant, beautiful, compassionate, loving life. Like, it is completely different living a life with a clean and pure and beautiful heart than it is when your heart is weighed down by things. So let's go ahead and begin our chant. And we're going to do that for a few minutes. So just close your eyes and sit with your heart space. Just go within and drop your energy and your attention and focus down into this space here. So the arms are up, and we're going to chant. Deep breath in. Tum ta ru. 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 Tum Spine nice and straight, chest open so that your heart space receives all of the light that it can hold. Deep breath in and surround your heart with a sphere of golden light. And then exhale through your mouth. Bring your left hand back on top of your heart. Right hand on top of your left for support. And just take a few slow, deep breaths and just exhale through the mouth. Exhaling through your mouth allows energy that is energy from your heart, that is stored in your lungs, old energy, old grief, pain, wounds, anything that you're holding on to that got too heavy for your heart to carry. Your lungs take that energy and it holds that sadness and despair and grief. And even if you don't think you have any, even if you think that your life is beautiful and perfect and everything is going wonderful, there are always other layers in there. There are always layers. And once you are fully purified, there are the layers to cleanse for your whole ancestral lineage. There are so many of us who came here to clean up our family line so that our descendants, just like the Kemetic ancestors, left all of that beauty and all of that awareness, all of that love that they sent down through the ages for us so that we could remember who we were, so that we could remember in this time of darkness that we could wake back up to the light. We could wake up back up to the light of who we are, to the light of what humanity is here for, to the light of what this planet is for, in full and deep connection. So some of us are here in a way to do the same thing that they did as a culture. We're here, each of us individually are able to do that. So once you're done with your own process, don't even stop there. Continue to expand, and everything you give the rest. Once your cup is full, you give the rest of that out as a gift. You give that gift first to the people who are around you, to your family, your friends, the people you love. They give that gift to other people who they love. That gift goes to other people who you are connected to, and your work, in all other spaces. Like that energy from the heart. Once our hearts link together, our hearts continue to pour, that ripple effect pours that light and that love and shares that around to everybody until eventually it will touch everyone. So once you're done cleansing your own heart, then just continue. Once your cup is full, continue to pour the love into you so that the love can spill out of you and spill outward into the world and ripple out to whoever needs it for their own healing. And take a deep breath in and just fill your heart with the intention of what do you want to release? What is no longer serving you? And go really within in a deep and honest way. I was talking with one of my sisters that I love deeply yesterday about how we compartmentalize. A lot of times in order to continue to function every day, we compartmentalize our wounds. And the reason, so the heart has 4 chambers. And if we make a habit of compartmentalizing our pain, compartmentalizing our grief, compartmentalizing our happiness or our certain ways of being, so that hardens the walls inside, that it is a reflection. There's always an above and below experience with the physical body and with the mental, emotional awareness, with the astral body, with all of these dimensions of us. There's always a connection. If you find yourself constantly compartmentalizing your life so that you don't have to deal with your pain and you can just live in this one space over here, remember that as you do that, especially when you do that chronically and you do that on a regular basis, the chambers inside your heart are becoming hardened. So those chambers, those walls that are here that separate the 4 chambers, they are no longer free-flowing and deeply connected to each other. But we can break those walls down as we do work like this, as we do these psychic detox movements and energies that help to heal the heart. Those walls soften again and we become flowing, we become free-flowing. We have to face our pain. A lot of times we don't want to open that space. Just take a deep breath in and fill your heart with the intention of what you want for your life. What do you want your heart to look like in your perfect ideal reality? Are you blocked? Are your channels closed? Are your gifts still wrapped up in here? Today is the day so many people are giving gifts to each other, or going out and getting stress over gifts for each other. And then meanwhile, they're walking around with all of these gifts locked up, wrapped up inside here, right inside of here. Before you worry about getting to the tree, worry about unwrapping this gift, opening up your heart. This is the greatest gift that you will ever be given. This is the greatest gift you have here. This is your guidance system. It keeps you alive. It pumps blood all through your body. It connects you and binds you with a magnetic force called love to other beings who are here to support and assist your journey. This is the greatest gift you have. Unwrap it, and allow it to serve you. Serve this gift in the best way that you can, and allow this gift to serve you in return. And let's go ahead and just close out the meditation by raising our arms up. So put your hands up in like a Y shape here, like this. Thumbs are out, fingers are curled under, and spine nice and tall. Lift your chin just a little bit so that your throat center is open. Keep your heart open. And we're going to do the fire breath. And this Kriya helps us move our own lower nature out of the way so that our heart can exist and function in its complete divine capacity without us using the lower nature tools that we use to protect it. We don't have to use lower nature tools to protect the heart. The divine gave us everything we need to function in the best possible way at the highest possible level. We just need to unpack those layers to just detoxify them. It doesn't matter what they were. It doesn't matter what caused them. It doesn't matter how long ago it's from. As soon as you choose to release it, it's beginning the release process. So let's go ahead and do the fire breath for anybody who's just tuning in for the first time. Fire breath, we just pump the navel from here, and just short breaths through the nose. And keep the eyes closed and focused on your heart space. Deep breath in and hold. And just fill your chambers with as much light energy as you can hold. Just hold a deep space of gratitude for yourself, for everything that you have been through, everything that you have come through, everything that you will continue to go through, with love and strength and courage. Let those walls down. Let those walls down. It's time to let it go. Let it melt. I know it's one of the coldest days of the year, but let your heart melt. Let the ice around it melt. Allow it to breathe. Allow it to exist in the way that you intended when you first chose to come down here to earth. Give yourself that freedom. When you give your heart that freedom, you give your entire being the freedom to exist in the way that you want, in the way that you came here to be. Not by anybody else's choices, not because of someone else's opinions or judgment or decisions about who you should be or how your journey should look. Just you in your own freedom to be you. Inhale up and just tap your thumbs together and pop your fingers open, wide open fingers, and just exhale again through your mouth. And just allow all of that psychic dust and debris to just remove itself, to just heal and cleanse and melt away. And just allow all that energy to release itself through your neck, through your shoulders, down through your arms, and down through the floor. Exhale it all the way down to Mama Earth. Wherever you are, if you're on the 27th floor of your condo, or you're sitting in the grass outside, if you're on the beach, on the sand, in the forest, if you're in a plane, wherever you are right now, unless you're driving a car, don't. Just release that energy out of you. And then slowly just bring your right hand up and put it on top of your heart. And this time bring the left hand on top for support. And just sit with yourself for just a moment in stillness and gratitude. Just continue to exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. And remember, just like this long day, this long night, and this short day, and this solstice time, remember that all of these things are a reflection. The earth is our teacher also, and the cycles that she goes through. This is a mirror of our journey also. There are times, everything is in cycles. There's nothing linear in the universe, nothing. Not one single thing in the universe is linear. If you're seeing it linear, that means that you're getting one slice of the picture, and you need to shift your focus so that you can see it from another angle and see it in its fullness. And that's the same thing a lot of times that we need to do with our journey. We look at the journey of others and we see linear, we see progress, we see one straight line that's just shooting up, and we don't turn and see all of the dips and the falls and the angles and the rise and sudden drops again. We don't see those. We just see from one angle, we see that straight line, and we want that for our journey. We want that straight line to the top, without realizing that if we shift our focus and look at everyone else's journey, including the earth, including the ancestors, including the deities, the orishas, and every journey is something. There are rises and falls and cycles and seasons to every journey. Allow the seasons, allow them to be what they are. You don't go outside in winter with shorts on and walk in flip-flops and a beach towel thrown over your shoulder, thinking that that's the right way to be for the season. You don't just feel cold and do nothing about it. When it's whatever season you're in, you prepare yourself for that season. You allow the season to be. Of course, we complain, I can't stand cold weather more than anybody. I hate cold weather. But that's the cycle. That's the cycle that we're in. And I can do something about it. Once you recognize the cycle, it is in your power to do something about it. When you recognize that it's cold outside, you can turn up the thermostat inside. You can put on a sweater. You can put on boots and socks. You can get on a plane and you can go to another place where the temperature suits you. You have many options. And in every cycle, every season, there are options that you have. Once you recognize and allow the cycle, you can choose to participate in the cycle. You can embrace the cycle, embrace winter and go skiing. Have fun, take some hot chocolate out in the back and sit with a fire pit. Enjoy the sensation of your fingertips getting cold and feeling how your blood is moving away, how your heart is protecting your body by pumping the blood in a smaller space so that your extremities lose blood, but your internal organs are all bathed in heat because your heart is aware of what's going on outside, and your heart is protecting you by pulling blood away from your fingertips and your toes and keeping you safe and keeping you warm. It is constantly measuring and gauging the world around you outside and adjusting itself and adjusting the movements and the flow of energy through you to keep you safe and protected at all times. So you don't need to throw up walls. If it's winter, embrace winter, and it's winter in anything, whether that's the season outside, if you're going through a season of winter in your love relationship, if you're going through a season of winter while your body is healing from an illness or going through an illness, no matter what is that, You can embrace the season, or you can get on a plane and you can leave and go find a season that suits you. Whatever it is you need to do, but recognize, and seasons always pass. There is no permanent season. There is no permanent cycle. It is always in flux. It is always changing. So if you learn to develop your capacity for patience, you can wait any season out, and you can focus on preparing yourself for the season ahead. That is what this cycle of the year is about. The Feast of Wajet, the 25th of December, this is the day of Wajet. This is where her energy has finally burst through. Just like when you put a seed into the earth, and underground inside that shell, the seed is doing things. It is activating itself with the life force that's contained inside of the shell. But that life force eventually breaks that shell open so that the seed is now open and connected to the soil. And when it makes that connection and it starts to put that root out from it and then raise that, and then it eventually bursts through up from the soil to start reaching for that next level of light, the sunlight. So we go through the same cycles as these things in the earth. Connect to the cycles, connect to yourself in divine awareness and understanding, and allow yourself your process. Allow yourself the process of darkness. Allow yourself the process of when you are enclosed, encased inside that shell. Allow that shell to break open. Allow yourself to reach out, these cords, these tentacles, these energetic reaching, and connect to the soil, connect in the darkness, in that darkness. And then eventually that Wajet energy, just like she does on the 25th of December, and gets the earth ready for that cycle of renewal that's coming. Prepare yourself for the cycle of renewal. Unwrap your own gifts. If you do nothing else for yourself, unwrap the gift of who you came to be. Unwrap that gift. There's a reason there's a star on the top of the tree. Unwrap that gift. Unwrap it. It's time for you to be the real self that you came to be. We all have our cycles and seasons. A month ago, I couldn't even get myself to sit here and get on a live video and talk to everybody because I was going through a cycle of darkness. I was going through a cycle of my shell, and I was getting impatient with myself, wondering why that part of my process was taking so long. And then I just had to allow it. I just had to allow it and hold the intention of what I wanted to be. And in holding that intention for myself, consistently holding that intention of who I truly wanted to be, the people who I needed to come and pour water on me, bring me to the sunlight, came into my life and just reminded me, just with their hearts, reminded me of who I came here to be. And that was enough for me to open, to unwrap my gift and to get myself back out here. After a long season of being away from social media, after a long season of being connected in my home space and pouring the energy and love that I have inside me into my home space, I finally felt ready to awaken fully, to stand back fully in who I am and who I came to earth to be, and connect my heart space to everyone. After I had spent enough time filling my cup to make sure that my cup was full. And that's a process too. It's a process. Allow yourself the space. You're going to get it wrong. It is not linear. Please stop fooling yourself by thinking that anything is linear. There is nothing linear in the universe. If the Doctor Strange movements and the thing opening up the portal showed you nothing, let it show you that nothing is linear. Everything is connected to angles and has dynamics. Everything is some sort of geometric structure. Nothing is linear. Allow yourself the process. Allow that in you. Allow yourself the time of darkness. Allow yourself the time of awakening in the darkness and not knowing what's going on or which way is up. Allow yourself that space, because it's going to happen over and over and over in different ways through your life at different times. It's going to happen in your body as women go through cycles of not having a menstrual cycle, having a menstrual cycle, so of giving birth, and this is all physical and energetic. A time when the time for giving birth ends and when a new cycle begins. That cycle is a reflection of all of the cycles that we go through, all of our cycles in life. Every single day and night, your body goes through a whole biorhythm cycle. There are constantly cycles happening. The brain goes through cycles. The heart goes through its own separate cycles. Allow yourself the process and just allow yourself to go through. Just tune in. Anytime that it gets hard, tune back into this vessel. This is your greatest support system right here. This vessel will tell you if you're going in a direction that is in alignment with your destiny. It'll tell you if you're going against it. It will tell you if a person who comes into your life or who is in your life is the right person to be in your life in alignment with who you are and who you're becoming. It will tell you whether the job you're working at is right. It will tell you whether the home you're living in is the right home, whether it is time to make that deal or do that thing or make that connection. It will tell you, but tune in and keep it clean so that it can express itself to you in the deepest possible way. So take a deep breath. Fill your heart with all of the gratitude that you can hold. And then just exhale. This time, don't exhale out of you. Exhale right inside your own being. Fill your vessel. Fill your cup. And as you do that, I invite you to go ahead and lie down. Just go ahead and lie back. And I am not going to lie back as always. I am just going to, I'm going to stay sitting up and I'm going to hold space for you. But if you have the opportunity now, go ahead and lie back. Lie down and just allow yourself just a moment after completing this meditation and filling your heart with the intention of who it is that you want to show up as, even if it's just for today, even if you have an absolutely insane family that it's really difficult to be around and you have to sit with them because they need you in their space. They need the magnetic frequency that is flowing off of you, and you may not be enjoying yourself at all. You may be involved in a conversation that is not pleasing you or feeding you in any way, and inside your mind you're just thinking about how bored you are. Still give your heart space to that, to give your heart. If you're going to show up, then show up with your heart. Who do you want to be? There's no need to make arguments. Whenever these holidays come up, especially these Western holidays, there will be bickering between people who consider themselves spiritually aware and awake, and they will try to beat everyone around them into mental submission by hitting. I'm going to hit them with these facts. I'm going to show them this. Come with your heart energy. Riding people with your mental energy isn't helping anyone rise. Awareness comes from here. And what is right for us in our journey, what is in alignment with our journey, comes from here. So if you have not taken the time to deeply study the heart space of whoever you are talking to and who you're trying to share facts or drop bombs or whoever you're trying to shake, then if you haven't taken time to deeply tune in to their heart space and understand their actual divine function on earth, from your heart into their heart, if you have not taken that time, then you do not have the right to try to invade their mental space with what you feel is correct. You do not have the right. Sometimes people will still take that right, and when you're taking, you're invoking karma. So then it becomes not a battle of you think you're so smart, you're the one who's invoking karma, while that person is just living their life in the way that they know best for right now, which is all any of us can do. Don't give in to the ego's need to feel better than by talking down to people about this holiday or how they should be celebrating. This is the Feast of Wajet. Today is the Feast of Wajet. Instead of beating down and telling people to put it away and stop celebrating and don't do anything at this time, find a reason to celebrate. Find a reason to be in joy. Even if it's your own breath and your own heartbeat, find a reason to be in a space of joy with the people around you today. If you are nothing but a magnet in the room, surrounded by people who are in a place where you're not even really wanting to be the magnet, just pour your heart space. Allow your day to be a meditation of giving. And if you are in a space, if you are blessed and lucky enough to be in a space with people who are surrounded by people who you love, who share the similar vision and perspective and understanding of this divine universe and all of the way things move inside of it, then you are incredibly blessed. And just take a moment to just stay in that joy and that gratitude with everybody. Hold that deep connection and use that opportunity to fill yourself, to fill your cup. And some of you are going to fill your bellies too. But be careful. Remember, we're trying to treat this vessel kindly. This is your internal guidance system, and this vessel is your tool of deep awareness. So don't overfill it. Don't do things to it that it shouldn't have inside of it. You will know what that is, because once you get your heart cleansed and it's in alignment with your journey, you will begin to understand. So for some people, they can drink alcohol and it doesn't affect them. Some people can't drink alcohol because it does affect them. Some people can only eat certain types of foods because it does or doesn't affect them. We tune in from here. This is how we know. And this purification process is how we tune in and connect with a cleansed space. This is just one way, but this is one way to connect to a cleansed space, so that the link between these two is deep and clear and loud enough to move us past the gate of confusion and into a space of knowing and understanding, deep wisdom that comes from here. So thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you for connecting with me, for being, hey, greetings guys. Thank you all. I appreciate you so deeply. And just remember, don't leave your gifts. Don't leave your gifts under the tree. Unwrap your gifts today. If you do nothing else for yourself today, give yourself that gift. Unwrap your own gifts and be the meditation in the room, in the space where you are. Whether you're lucky enough to be surrounded by people who love you and support you and are a guidance system also for your journey, because their hearts are connected to yours from a pure place, or whether you are the only one in the room whose heart is connected from a deep and powerful and pure place, hold that and be that. Offer yourself in service, in the service of love to the others around you. I'm so grateful to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to go and spend the rest of my day with my beautiful family. And I hope you all have an amazing, wonderful Feast of Wajet and a beautiful day. Ashe, ashe, ashe.